Making sure we are good to go and live on Facebook. Okay, Sally, let's kick this thing off. Can you hear me okay, Sally?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, yeah, loud and clear. Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Robbie on behalf of the marketing team here at PSTrax. Hey, thanks for being a part of this. We want to do a little bit of housekeeping right now before we get started. We are live on Facebook. If that is a good platform for anyone on your team or for your crews, you're welcome to join us there. And my job, I'll basically be your host today. I will be taking questions. I'll keep an eye on Facebook as well if you have anything coming in there, but please feel free to use the chat function at the bottom of your Zoom tab, as well as the Q&A. And Sally is going to be our presenter today, and I will kindly interrupt Sally as we go through it. So without much further ado, Sally, I'll pass. Oh, I was going to talk about the agenda really quick. I'm sorry.
No worries.
We are doing this. We're going to hit two different modules today. Today is a PSTrax overview, so you can learn how to automate checks for all 7 modules that we have, which are vehicles, which include vehicles, equipment, and controlled assets and inventories. Today, we're going to focus on the vehicle module and also the critical asset module, which I'll let Sally explain a little bit further. But we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes in each of those modules. After you see 2 of those, you should get a pretty good idea of how the rest of our modules will work too from there. So again, Sally, you're very lucky to have her today. She's fantastic. She'll be our presenter and walking you through all of this. And Sally, I'll let you take it away. Thanks.
Thank you, Robbie. Always say such nice things. I appreciate that.
It's easy to do.
So much. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're joining through the webinar or on Facebook. We're glad to have you. I do see a couple of people that I've seen join us in the past. So welcome back. We're glad to have you in with us. And if you've never seen us before, then we're excited to share our platform with you. Like Robbie said, we're going to be really respectful of your time this morning. So I'm going to go over a little bit of background on PSTrax. We'll hop right into the site. I'll walk you through some of the modules that Robbie told you about this morning, and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, if you're not familiar with PSTrax, we're located here in Littleton, Colorado, about 12 miles south of the Denver metro area. If you've ever been out this way, and if you're ever out this way, we'd love for you to stop by and visit us. That's where we're located. We've been doing this for almost 13 years now at this point. So it started off as a truck check module. That's where we started. And now we've grown to what you see here. We're doing the vehicles, SCBA, PPE, critical assets, controlled substances, stations, and our newest module, the inventory module. So we'll touch on the vehicle module and the critical assets here in just a moment. A little more background here. This says 400 plus agencies. We're actually in over 460 agencies now. We are worldwide. We're here in the United States. We're up in Canada, and we're also down in Australia. That was an exciting opportunity to be able to work with several clients down in Australia now. And we do work with all different department types as well as agency types. It doesn't say that on here. So not only do we work with fire departments, EMS departments, things like that, we also work in the private sector as well. So keep that in mind. If you are joining us today and you're not sure if this would work for your agency and you are in the private sector, let me know. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see what just popped up on my screen. Do you see something different there, Robbie? I'm getting a call that apparently popped up on my screen.
Oh,
see that,
no,
right?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, good. Okay. I was like, well,
yeah.
That's awkward and strange that just popped up. So I'm glad you couldn't see that. So anyway, we'll keep going here. So basically, PSTrax came about because the owner's daughter was a fire medic up in Black Hawk, Colorado here, a little gambling mountain town. And she reached out to her dad because they were doing everything on paper, like a majority of the people who reach out to us are doing. They're doing their truck checks on check sheets. Maybe it's a printout that you check off and then you store in a binder and it goes in a closet somewhere at the end of the day. And that's how they were doing it. And she reached out to her dad and said, this is cumbersome, it's clunky, it's not working for us anymore. We can't find anything if we get audited. It's become a real pain. So she's the whole reason PSTrax got started. And what we learned is about 80% of people who reach out to us are still doing things on paper, which is always so amazing to me in this day and age, but it's true. So our goal is to basically take everything you're doing on paper and put it into a platform where you can then pull from things easily, pull reports easily, be able to provide that information in case you get audited, things like that. That's what this platform is for. So as you can see here, I've only got 6 modules here because the 7th inventory module is almost 100% ready to go. If that is a module you're interested in, or any of the modules that we don't go through today, please feel free to let Robbie and myself know. We'll be happy to set up an individual meeting with you to review those modules, a demo to go over those. But as we're looking at this, you do have the ability to pick and choose between the modules. So I always let people know whatever works best for your agency, whatever your most pressing thing is that you need at that time, that's where you can start. All of the modules function very similarly, all right? So whether we're talking about doing a check or setting an alert, running reports, things like that, they all function very similarly. We wanted this to be extremely user-friendly. So you'll find that as we go into the demo site here in just a second, that all of the modules function very similarly. This is not, and I do like to point this out as well, this is not an app. PSTrax is a cloud-based platform. There's several reasons we went that route. Number one, it's not going to take up any data or storage on any of the devices that you're using, okay? Also, you can have as many people using this at the same time. So it's not going to limit you to having like 1 or 2 people being able to use an app. You can have 2, 3, 4, 5 people out on one rig doing checks all at the same time. Everything comes off in real time, and it doesn't slow down the system. So those are the main reasons that we opted to go with the cloud-based platform. It does work with any device that has access to the internet. And it is a cloud-based data that belongs to you. So if in the future, for any reason, let's say you can't stay with us, your budgets get cut or something like that, you will still always have access to your archived information. It belongs to you. PSTrax is built to your exact specifications. One of the things, there's several things that set us apart from our competitors. One of the main things is, though, it's completely customizable. And when I say that, I mean that, because we learned early on, no 2 departments, no 2 agencies do things the same way. You all follow different internal policies and procedures. You all have different naming conventions. Maybe your state regulations, vary a little bit here and there. So when we first started building this, we recognized it wasn't really fair for us to just hand people this box and say, here, you need to fit in this now. It just didn't work that way. So what we learned is we needed to look at what you were doing and build it exactly the way you want it built. That's the other thing that sets us apart. We're not going to hand this to you and expect you to put the information in there. Once you start with PSTrax, you have a team, a support team on this end who will support you. They will build it for you. They will offer continuous training with you. We're available to you. There's no additional fees for that. There's no time limit to that. We are here to help you be successful with the platform from the time you start with us until hopefully forever, as long as you stay with us. So we want to make that clear. So when I'm saying that, you can make adjustments in the system, or we can do it for you. All right. We have found that in every company, department, agency, there's always somebody who loves technology, right? They like to get in the back end of things and move things around. And if you have people that are like that, that's awesome. We will train them how to do everything they need to do within the system. However, we have found that there are some departments out there that don't have people like that. And they really just don't have 5 extra minutes in their day to, upload a bunch of PPE gear that they just got or move something from one place to the other. That's what we're here for. Okay. If you need help with that, you can email us, call us. whatever you can do to just go ahead and get a hold of us. You're not going to get an automated system. You will get a real live person here. If we don't answer, leave us a message and we'll call you back. But that's what we're here for. We have a team whose sole purpose in life is to make sure that your system functions and looks the way you want it to look. Couple other things that I wanted to touch base on. When I go into the demo site here, I'm going to talk about the alert feature within PSTrax, because the alert feature is really going to be the backbone of the platform. It's really important to be able to do those checks, right, and get everything and logged and documented. However, we have heard time and time again that people are not, they aren't getting notified in a timely manner if something's broken. You know, somebody may put a sticky note on your desk or send you an email, and maybe you skip over it because we all get far too many emails anymore in this day and age, or that sticky note kind of fell off and it fell on the floor, or it just never gets notified that there's something wrong, broken, or missing. So the alert portion of PSTrax is really what's going to keep everybody on track there. So like I said, this is not an app. It's simply an icon that will teach you how to put on whatever device you're using. Everybody's going to log in. You have a unique username and password to log in. Here's just an example. All right. So you can see if everything looks good, it's going to be marked in green. However, if there's a problem, you're going to set an alert, and that alert is now going to go off to the appropriate people. And I'll show you that here in a second. Anywhere you see a red highlighted box within the system, that's going to be a required note. So basically, if you want them to actually measure the tire pressure and not just kick the tires, they're going to have to put something in there. Otherwise, it's going to give you a hard stop and you're not going to be able to move forward with that. But once they set that alert, it's now going to text or email off to the appropriate person or group of people. The other thing that you can do, which a lot of our departments really love, is you can attach a picture to that alert. Now that a picture is going to stay with that alert indefinitely. So even after the alert's been closed off and put into the archives, if you have to pull that information out in the future, that picture is going to be there with it. We have departments like Blackhawk, who's been with us for 13 years, and they have 13 years worth of pictures in their archives. A little bit more on that alert feature, and then we're going to go into our demo site here. So again, you can see here, we have, this looks good. Maybe we've added a little air here, but here we have a flat tire. So let's go ahead and set that alert. And what's going to happen is, like I mentioned, it's going to text or email, or both, depending on how you have it set up, off to the appropriate person or group of people. So if you have a vendor that you use and you want that vendor to be notified of an issue, we can send it off to them. If you want your maintenance shop to be notified, we can do that. You can, and we'll show you this here in a second, but you can, the way we set this up, you'll be able to set it up to go to those appropriate people. So if certain people don't need to be getting that alert, they're not going to get it. We have agencies and departments that the chief wants to see every single alert that ever comes through the system. This is not something I would recommend personally. However, if that's how you want it set up, then we'll certainly set it up that way for you. We just ask people, you know, really to think about those internal policies and procedures that you follow. And then we'll certainly follow those guidelines as well for you. So I'm going to go ahead and pull our demo site over here for you. Now, like I said, this can work on any device that you're using just for demonstration purposes. However, I'm going to have it up on my screen here so you can see everything at once. Like I said, everybody has a unique username and password to log in. We'll go ahead and sign into the site here. And what's important to note is at this point, now that I'm signed in, everything that I do within the system is linked to me. All right, so any checks that I'm doing, any notes that I'm making, any alerts that I'm setting are now tied to my name. All right, there's a lot of accountability within this system. Also, everything is date and time stamped. Okay, so a couple of things I wanted to point out there. Now, this is just our home base here, our home screen. And I just want to kind of walk you through it so you can get familiar with it. Right here's our schedule of items that are due. Within our demo site, I do have every module represented here, so that's why you're seeing so much. But again, just remember, if you only go with 1 or 2 modules, it's gonna reflect that here. Here's the alerts, okay? Remember, like I said, the backbone of the platform here. So we'll go through how to set those and navigate those in just a second. And then here's the journal. Now the journal, look at this as like a virtual whiteboard, okay? So we know how busy you are, and sometimes things forget to get mentioned. This is a perfect place to set this up, all right? So, you know, we've got things like pass on reports, training, emergency calls. If I were just to add a post real quick so you can kind of see what this looks like. Here's some of the most popular categories we see that other departments use. So trainings, emergency calls, safety alerts, station tours. I mean, hopefully one day we're going to get back to that, you know, now that COVID hopefully is settling a little bit, maybe you'll start doing station tours again, but you can put that information in there. Type in the information for your post. You can add attachments to these. You can make it into department specific or station specific. And you can set them up to stay on your home screen until they're archived or not. So I just wanted to show that to you because I really think that the journal is a great tool as well within the platform. So what we're going to do, and I think the most important piece of what we're going to go over today is I just want you to see what it would look like for a crew member to do some checks, set an alert, and move on with their day. I'm not going to go too far into the weeds. I don't think that's what we need to focus on today, but I do want you to see what it looks like for your crew. So because you guys know as well as I do, some of the biggest feedback we got is if it's confusing, if it's cumbersome or clunky in any way, and I'm sure some of you have seen other platforms out there that are just confusing and hard to use, you're not going to get the buy-in that you need from your crew and your staff. Okay, and we know that. So we really wanted to make this very user-friendly. So what I want to show you, we'll focus on the vehicles first. I want to show you what it looks like for somebody to do some checks. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to work on engine 1 here. You can see we've got our vehicle checks, some SCBA checks, asset checks that are due, and inventory checks that are due on this. Again, if you don't have these modules, these aren't going to populate, all right? But they are on our site just for what we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and just click into our vehicle checks on engine 1. Okay. Now, something really important to note. Crew is never going to have to guess what's due for that day. All right, because we're so customizable, when you set this up in PSTrax, you tell us what do you want done daily, weekly, monthly, every 3rd Tuesday. You tell us what you want done, and that's how our team builds it for you. All right. So I know today as I'm logging in, these are my daily checks that are due. I've got some monthly inventory that's due today on the 12th. I've got a fuel log, some EMS inventory here, so on and so forth. So this is what I know as a crew member is due for the day. So let's go ahead and go through and let's just do a few checks. I'll scroll down here and let's say, you know, this looks good. This looks good. But let's say, and I can see here, this little red bell is showing me that an alert's already been set. So I'm just going to click on the bell to see, because I see a tear in the seatbelt. Use your imagination. I'm seeing a tear in the seatbelt, so I want to alert it, but let me click on this bell and see if that's, oh, yep, it looks like somebody is already notified that there's a torn seatbelt here. They've also attached a picture. I know this because there's a paper clip here, so let me click on the paper clip. Yep. All right, so they've already identified that there's a tear in the seatbelt. So I don't have to set that alert again. What I can do is I can mark that it's good. I can click on my drop down pencil here. This is how I train people to do this. And I can just say alert, already set for tear. We'll just say. All right. So we'll just do a couple of more, checks here, and let's go down here. And let's say we check the horn and it's not working. So I can go ahead and I can set an alert now, and I can just say not working. Now I'm going to go ahead and log these items. The other cool thing about PSTrax that people love is that you don't have to do all the checks and then log them before you can move on. We know that, you know, as you're doing checks, the tone may go off and you may need to go and you can't do all of them. So you can do as many as you can and then move on. So let's go ahead and log these checks. It's going to take me to a confirmation screen, basically just to let me see, is this what I wanted to check? Everything looks good. But because we've set this alert here on the horn, when I log these tasks, it's now going to take me to an alert confirmation screen. So what I want you to see here, what's really important is this category is going to be the identifying factor of who your alert recipients are. So right now we've got vehicle maintenance marked. So these are the people that are going to get this alert now. All right, so we've got our maintenance shop. Looks like we've got a vehicle warranty vendor that might be notified of this. We also have a couple of optional people here. They're not check marked. So if I want to mark them, I can. If somebody on here that needs to be notified isn't on here, I can go into our additional alert recipients, locate that individual, include them as well. But what I want you to see here is if I change this category from vehicle maintenance to say building and grounds, now you can see that our alert recipients down here changed. Or if I change it to EMS supplies, our alert recipients changed again. Okay, so this is very specific to who needs to be notified about this category. All right, so let's go ahead and change this back to vehicle maintenance. Here's our information. We can put additional comments in at this time if we want. We can mark it routine or urgent. I'm gonna say it's pretty urgent. We've got to have that horn working. Here's where we could attach that picture. This functionality is exactly the same as attaching a picture to a text message or an email. So we can go ahead and attach a picture, use your imagination, because we're on my desktop. So we'll just go into some pictures here and we'll just pick, I don't know. It's not a flat tire. I don't have a good example for this, guys. We'll just pick this. Sorry about that. So anyway, we'll attach a picture there. I'm going to set this alert. And now what I want you to see is, it takes us back to continue doing checks if we want. But if we go back to our home screen here, which I can do by clicking on our badge, if I go back to our home screen, you can see right here in real time is the alert that I just set. We can click on the paperclip. That's going to show us that picture that was attached to it. So now everybody that's coming in as they're doing their checks for the day. I mean, maybe they came in and you know, saw an oil leak underneath there, but maybe this was an oil leak check alert that we already saw. They would already be able to see that somebody's already identified this. They don't need to worry about it anymore. It's already taken care of. As a crew member, I'm now done. That's literally as simple as it is. I did a check, I set an alert, I made some notes. I can now move on with my day. That's as simple as it is. Now, let's say I'm one of the people that actually got this alert, okay? I'm one of those alert recipients. I can now go in here and I can just add a comment on this alert and I can say, you know, thanks, you know, pull service. Maybe there's a part that I know needs to be ordered and I know a link where that needs to be ordered. I can add that attachment. Maybe I've started an invoice. I want to scan it in at this point. I can do that as well. We're not going to close this alert because it hasn't been resolved. And here we have the opportunity to send notification to that same group of people who were originally notified or not. Now I'm big on accountability. So I believe, yep, let's go ahead and notify. So I also want people to see there's progress being made on this issue because far too often we've heard people say, well, I got the notification, but then, you know, when I got that sticky note or the email, I never knew if anybody took care of it from that point forward. This is how you're going to know. Okay, so yes, let's go ahead and notify this same group of people that we are making progress on this issue. So what I want you to see is in real time, there's my response. Okay. So people can continue to make, you know, notes on this as they're going forward. But if we're ready to close this off, really important to note, not just anybody can close off an alert. All right. Usually it's the person who set the alert or somebody in an admin role who's allowed to close those off. We don't typically encourage just anybody be able to close those off. But again, look at your internal policies and let us know what you want there. But let's just go ahead and complete this cycle and let's go ahead and close this off. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got admin rights here. We'll go ahead and edit this information. Here's all of our information. Here was my response. Here's a red highlighted box. The reason we're closing it, we'll just say it's fixed. We'll keep it simple. Maybe I've got a receipt at this point that I want to scan in here and attach. I can do that. You know, maybe this was a warranty issue and they've sent me some updated information on that warranty. I can scan that in, so on and so forth. And here's where we can put a cost. All right. Love this about this. Let's say it was $500 to fix this. Now the system's going to track all the costs associated with the maintenance of this vehicle. And you can pull a report on that later on in the future if you need to. We're going to go ahead and say, yep, we're going to close this alert. And do I want to send notification off to that same group of people? I do. So let's go ahead and save that. And now you can see that alert is gone. All right. Again, all of these modules function very similarly. The alert here has not been deleted. It's simply been put into the archive. All right. So if in the future somebody comes in and says, hey, I see that you guys have had a lot of problems with engine 1, I need to see a history of that. With admin rights, you can go right up here into this little drop down. You can go into the alert archive. Here's all my different alerts for and archives for all my modules, but for now we'll focus on our vehicles. I can go into the alert archive here. I can narrow this down by vehicle or station or all. We'll look up our little engine here that we were working on. I can look it up by category. So there's lots of ways to narrow this down, but for now I'm just going to leave it all so you can see how this looks. I can also look it up by who posted it. So maybe I want to see all the ones that the maintenance shop posted or all the ones that a specific crew member posted. I can do that as well. Here we're going to go ahead and select our date range. So let's just go back a month. And we'll view our search results. What the system is doing now within PSTrax is it's pulling up a customized report to show us all the alerts that were ever set on engine 1 between April 5th and today's date. And we do a lot of alerts on this vehicle, so give it a second. There we go. And right down, it is now populated a report that shows us the date and time that the alerts were opened, who opened them, when they were closed and who closed them, our category, the vehicle, the station that they were located in, any description attached, any costs associated with it. All of this information is now right here for you. So let's say we scroll down here to April 16th, and we just want to see a quick account of what happened during this alert. We can click on the details, and it's going to bring up those details for this specific alert. It's going to show us all the information, any pictures that were attached, any costs associated with it. We're also going to know who is made aware of this specific alert. Okay, so we can see that. If I need to edit this information with admin permission, I can go in and edit that information for myself as well. But let's say you've pulled this up and now somebody said, you know what, I don't need to see all this information. Really, all I need to see is anything having to do with tires. In our search bar here, we can type in tires, and now you can see very quickly, the system has now narrowed this report down to customize it even further to show us only anything having to do with tires. If at this point you do need a hard copy for this, somebody says, that's great, I need a hard copy, we can go right here, we can drop it into an Excel or a PDF, print that off, and there we have our hard copy for anybody that might need that. So that's a quick overview of the alert portion of it. Some of the other things within the vehicle module, I'm going to go over here into our drop-down menu over here, just so I can kind of show you what this looks like. I want to show you some of the logs and reports that you can pull on this. You can make several custom reports within the system on any of the modules. All right, so chances are if you've been out there one day and you've been doing checks and looking at things and you're like, gosh, I wish we had a report for miles and hours. I wish we had a report for oil changes. I wish we had a cost report for our vehicles. Let us know. We can, chances are we've created those reports for you in the past. I'm just going to show you some examples here in custom reports. We have one for EMS supplies, SCBA locations. Here's a fuel log. Of course, I can't go back far enough. I think I have something on, there we go, fuel log. We've got our notes over here. All of that information. We've also got one on mileage. So now we can also keep track of our miles and hours. All right. Print that report off if we need to. One of the most important reports that people really love is the out of service report. This is going to save you a lot of headaches in the future. Let's say you need to know how many times engine 1 has been out of service just over the last few months. You know, maybe you're going into your budget season and this vehicle has been out of service more than it's been in, and you need to take this in now and have a good reason as to why you need a new engine. You can do this. It's going to show you how long it was out, why it was out, and at the very bottom, it's going to show you this vehicle's been out a total of 7 days, 14 hours, and 57 minutes. So this is a hard evidence of why you might need to be getting a new vehicle. That's on the vehicle side of things. I want to touch really quickly on the critical asset side of things because it happens to be one of my favorite modules.
Hey, Sal.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to
I'll
interrupt.
stop. Let me drink. You go.
Yeah, I got a question in earlier, and yeah, I'll give you a quick break before we get into hop into the critical assets. So to summarize this question a little bit, basically you're asking kind of what extra level of accountability we can offer their crews. Sounds like, maybe some pencil whipping, how could we kind of prevent that? I know you touched on that a little bit earlier, but if you could just go back to that and maybe touch on frontline crew checks and how maybe they don't have a check all function, for example.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And absolutely, we have had departments who do want a check all function. Okay. It's not my favorite function in the system. I'm going to be really honest with you, because I do think it lends itself to pencil whipping. And when I talk about the check all function, let me go back into engine 1 here so you can see what that is. Basically what that is anywhere you see this, and I'm sorry I didn't touch on this sooner, but anywhere you see one of these little boxes next to the task that's due, if I click on this, you can see now automatically everything checks at the same time. And you have the ability to go through, let's say they go through and they can check everything, and then they can go right here if there's actually an alert that needs to be set, and set that alert, and it will do that. We do not have many departments that use this because of what Robbie was touching on here. A lot of the reason why people want to move away from paper is for that accountability piece. So when they're signing in and they have their unique username and password, everything is tied to them, as I was kind of showing you in the alerts. Or if I show you in the checks, let's do that real quick. I could show you that, and that might answer this question a little bit better. If I want to go in and I want to view the logs, okay, and let's say, because the checks are different than the alerts, right? This is where we want to see who's doing what time they're doing it, how it's being handled, because it's what we have found with departments is once people know that what they're doing in the system is tied to their name, they're much more diligent about it. And if they're not diligent about it, it's very easy to catch. Okay, so let's say we go in and let's go back to our engine 1, and we can look it up by the checklist, task group, task, maybe who logged it, maybe we want to see, all the checks that Ryan did. I can now go in and narrow this down, and let's just look at the checks that Ryan's done, and let's look at the date range, of March 8th to today. We can now see right here every check that Ryan has done. We also can see the date and the time that he did them. So everything is very specific and tied to him. Okay, so that's where a lot of that accountability comes in, is being able to narrow it down that way. So this now will show us, all the checks. But let's say, he says, oh, I wasn't on shift on a certain day or whatever. You can now go through here and go, actually, you were, because you did checks that day, or you were supposed to be on because I see that you did checks, or how come you didn't do checks that day? So there's a lot of accountability there. Does that kind of help answer the question, Robbie? Yeah,
thanks, Sally. Even took that an extra step further with the log there. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for the question. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Glad to help with that. Sorry, I didn't touch on that sooner. I apologize for that. Okay, so let's talk about the asset module real quick. Again, you can kind of see here, these are, we've got some assets assigned to these vehicles. Looks like we've got some assets set up in our station module. So if you have the asset module, if they are linked to the asset module is going to track whether it's the item is linked to a specific person, place, or thing. Okay, we know that your radios are constantly moving, and things are just getting lost that way. So this module is really great for tracking your high-end items. So think about anything, City of this module came about because of the City of San Diego, and they really wanted to track anything $1,000 or more. We have other departments that are like, no, what's important to us is tracking anything $500 or more. This module is also perfect for tracking things like grant-funded items, things that were donated. We're seeing this a lot right now with COVID, all these COVID grants that are coming about. People are being able to use that funding to really purchase some things that they've really been needing for a long time. This is a perfect place to track those items. So I'm just going to quickly show you some of the things in the asset module. We'll go right over here to our asset page. I'm going to go into our asset list because I want you to see some of the most popular things that you can load into this module. The other thing that departments and some of the groups that we work with love about this and I'm sure our developers sometimes have kicked themselves about this decision, you can load as much as you want into this module. There's no limit. So it's not like, you get the asset module and you're allowed to pick your 10 most important things to you. You can load as much as you need to. All we ask is that you really make sure that it's something that you need to track high-end dollar wise. Okay, so we don't want you loading things in here like silverware or a broom handle. We want you to really look at these items. So here's some examples. If I go in here to our asset types, furnaces, appliances, roofs, we're seeing people track, just especially down in Texas, where you get horrible hailstorms. This is a great place to do this because you can track for insurance purposes. Radios, tick cameras, fire extinguishers, drones. I mean, if you told me 10 years ago we'd be tracking drones, I wouldn't even know what you were talking about. So these are great examples, and you can see how long this list is. So you're going to be able to track all these different types. You can also track it by status. Is it active, out for repair, inactive? Is it missing? Is it out for calibration? You can track it by apparatus, location, user, or if it's unassigned. Right down here, I just want you to kind of see, we're going to track who it's assigned to, what it is, its description, its manufacturer. Let me scroll down here a little bit. If there's a size, if there's a cost associated with it, what the model number is, serial numbers, ID numbers, sources. That's kind of what I was talking about just a minute ago. Here's some grant funded items. Here's a federal grant, Colorado grant, all these different grants. I love this. If it has a vendor tied to it, address. The address is for the hydrant portion of this. All right. So if you're tracking those hydrants, you're going to be able to attach those addresses to it. There's our status. Here's our manufacture date, our purchase date, which is really critical. Expiration date, extremely important. We can reorder this if we need to by expiration date. I just click that button right up there. When it was last logged, its last location, and who last logged it. Anytime you see something in red here, that means it's moved. It means it started somewhere and now it's moved somewhere else. So we'll go back over here. I just want to, I want to quickly click in. We'll just click into this radio and take a look at the details on it so you can see how this looks on the back end here. Sorry about my slow computer, everybody. There we go. Okay, so now you can see all of the information tied to it right here. Any attachments or pictures, which my computer is just going to be slow, so we'll just close that for now. But that picture's in there. We also have its initial cost, total maintenance to date. Looks like this warranty is expired on this. If there was any further asset history, it would be located over here. Also on the back end of this, we can go in, we can log an event. So maybe we need to go in and we need to, log a repair on this. We can do that. We can put our notes, we can put a cost, add attachments. So we can do that on the back end of this. We can also go in there and edit the information. Maybe we've got an updated warranty and we need to change the expiration on that, or maybe we need to add the vendor in at this point. We can reassign it, change its status. We can retire it. Oh, maybe we need to schedule an event on this. All right, so here's the events that are already scheduled on it, but maybe we also need to schedule a, a quarterly inspection. We can add that in here and schedule that as well so that that will automatically flag people when that's ready. Or maybe we just need to go ahead and delete it altogether. Maybe we're going to send this asset out for a repair. And we want to send it, we're going to slip it into a sleeve, a bag, and we want to send a ticket with it so that when it goes out the door, it can be scanned. We can go right here and we can print this off. All right, it's going to give us all the details that are assigned to this asset. We can print this off. It's got an automatic barcode right there. We can slip that in, scan it, send it off. Once our repair people get it, they'll scan it. We'll be able to track now all the movement of the repairs on this, for example. This function is also applicable to the PPE module, by the way. Real quick on assets, some of the reports that you can run, an expiration date report. Here's our cost report. So if we need to go in and we need to look at a cost report on roofs, we probably don't have anything on this. Let me look. Now that I've picked that, oh, we do. Here we go. So our initial cost on it was 20 grand, and so far maintenance has cost us 500 bucks. We can click into the details and see why. We can also print this report off for anybody that might need it. So that's a great example. If the insurance company wants, proof of anything or something like that, we're tracking that. Maybe, you have to answer to, I don't know, a budget group, and you need to print this off for them. They'll be able to see that as well. That was pretty much a quick overview of both those modules. As you can see, the reason we don't do today a full overview on everything is because this PSTrax is so specific and it's so customizable, and there's so much that can be done with it, that I just wanted to give those two particular modules a lot of my attention at this point. I just want to touch base on a couple of other things. We didn't talk about attaching training resources within the system, but you can. So you can attach pictures, you can attach videos. It's a great tool. I love it. So, maybe you need to attach a list with pictures. Hey, everybody, here's how the triage kit goes back. Please put it back the way you should. We know people are very visual, and this is a great tool, and it's part of the platform. There's no additional fee for that. We talked about our vehicle module. If you ever want more information on our SCBA, PPE modules, we do follow NFPA guidelines, as well as any internal guidelines that you guys follow. We talked about our critical assets this morning. Controlled substance, our narcotics module, if you're interested in that, reach out. We'll be happy to share it with you. Station module, basically you can track your basic EMS supplies, station checks, station supplies within there. And then our inventory module, you're able to manage your consumables, things that are, those medications that are expiring, N95 masks, gloves, gowns, all of those things can be tracked underneath the inventory module. You can transfer your supplies and refill locations. Document incident supply usage, automatically track your par levels, reorders from your vendors. With that, at this point, I want to be respectful of our time here. Robbie, were there any other questions that anybody came up with?
Not right now at this time, Sally. And I was going to say I'll open it up for a quick Q&A session. We have a few more minutes here. If anything pops in, I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in the meantime, let's let this run for just a few minutes, see if anything comes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll let you continue just for a couple minutes and just interrupt you. Thanks,
yeah,
Sally.
no worries. No worries. Absolutely. If anybody has any questions, please let us know. These usually answer this screen here usually answers a majority of the questions. Yes, we are custom built, 100% custom built based on what your needs are. Yes, you can use any device. Yes, we do support barcode scanning. So all of these are, typically the most important questions that we get. When it comes time to build your platform for you, you can send us your information in any format that you have it. Okay, I just met last year, right before COVID hit, I met with a department up in Alaska that had everything on it was a form that somebody had printed off in the early 90s, and they laminated it, and they were using a grease pencil to do their checks on it. And then at the end of the day, they would clean that right off and they would start over the next day. And we actually had them send us a picture of that because they just wanted to make sure that those checks were part of their check system. So when I say we take however you've got it, we really mean that. So if you've got it on an Excel spreadsheet, great. If you've typed it out on a Word doc, wonderful. If you've got it handwritten, it's not our favorite format. We might have to call you several times to ask you to read us, whatever the handwriting is, but we will take it in that format too. So however you have that, you send that to us. We upload everything into the system for you, and then we schedule you for a training and a Q&A session with your admin, those people that are going to be able to take that information back to their crew. We do that training and we help you get it rolled out. So we're excited about that because the fact that we build it for you does ensure that you are going to actually get it rolled out, because I'm actually that person that's going to follow you through all of those steps to make sure you're successful with that platform.
And
Thanks for that, Sally. I just had a quick question come to me. So
Yep.
I know it varies a little bit based on kind of the build team and their schedule, but could you talk a little bit? Basic question is, how long does it take to build the system, once they get us that their checks?
Absolutely. Typically, once you get us your checks, it can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks during a slower time of year, which we don't typically have anymore. That's typically what we're looking at the most right now. We're about 4 weeks out for that build to get done before we can do your Q&A and training.
Great. Thanks, Sally.
Sure.
Thanks again.
No worries. Good question. Thanks.
For the question, if you have, we will let it go for another minute here, but if I see anything else come through, we'll just kind of wrap it up now, Sally.
Check Facebook one more time, see if anything came through that.
Absolutely. You've got my information here on the screen. Please feel free to reach out to myself, reach out to Robbie. Let us know what we can do to help you. If you're interested in learning about any of the modules and you want more one-on-one time with us to do a demo, we'd love to meet with you and just see if it's something that would meet your needs. So if it would be a solution that would be right for you guys, we would love to share it with you personally. Please feel free to reach out to us.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sally. You did a fantastic job as always.
Thank you.
You're in very good hands should you come aboard with us. And again, Sally will walk you and be part of your journey with us as you join PSTrax. So thanks again, Sally. I think we'll close it up and wrap it up. Thank you for everyone who attended or watched us live on Facebook. We know your time is very valuable and we appreciate what you do. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. You guys stay safe and healthy. We'll talk to you soon, hopefully.